Watching Power Breakfast right here on Citizen TV, and today we have a different session right in the middle of our news review. My panel of news reviewers, Hassan Omar, Richard Onyonka and Simba Arati, are still in the house, so do not worry. But now I'm joined by two gentlemen from Nyeri County. These are members of the County Assembly. On my right I have Paul Ngiria, MCA for Shinga, and on my left Duncan Gitwanja, member of the County Assembly from Kabaru Ward. Now, of course, a lot of things have been happening in Nyeri County. The budget is still yet to be approved. But now, according to the story on this pullout, the County News pullout of the Daily Nation, an MCA who was beaten up by colleagues in the County Assembly has filed a case seeking to stop the implementation of the 2016-2017 county budget. Now, the case was filed as Governor Nderito Gachagua accused Speaker David Mogo of helping craft an impeachment motion against him. Now, what happened, and if you can see the gentleman on my right, that's Paul Ngiria. I'm assuming you're the MCA who was roughed up. Yes. This was when the impeachment motion was tabled in the County Assembly on Tuesday this week. Now, surely, kindly tell us what exactly is the problem? What transpired on Tuesday when this motion was tabled?
Actually, there was intention to file a notice of the impeachment. And I think as the members were looking for the ground and the threshold in terms of the numbers, they were so bitter they could not actually get the threshold. And then they are aware of my stand in the budget issues. And your stand is? My stand is that as so far so good. If you look to the financial procedures, there is no budget which was approved in the Nyeri County Assembly. And we see a lot of contraventions in terms of the role, the financial procedures, all that, including the public, the purported public participation. Yes.
Bwana Gitwanja, of course, you support the motion of impeachment against your governor. I know you're probably not directly involved in harming your colleague here, but what is your case?
First, I want to say my colleague was not harmed by anybody. This is drama. Actually, this is political drama. He came in the assembly. They had a physical altercation with one of his friends. This was assembly premises, outside the assembly premises, but of course the media people were there. They captured it, and if you were to look at the story, it was outside the premises. Again, let me go to the impeachment motion. The reason we have filed an impeachment motion against the governor, which has not been filed yet, so we cannot purport there was a motion. It's been filed today at 2:30 p.m. The reason we have done that is because the threshold set by Senate and the High Court and Court of Appeal for all the governors who have been impeached has been reached in Nyeri. Nyeri is a county we have massive corruption. We have loss of funds. Recently, you have seen we are ranked the best county in loss of funds at 158 million, which could not be accounted for. And what would be our work as MCAs? We were to sit down then, let's go and say, because the governor has 1 year to operate, let him continue doing what he wants to do. We want to set a standard. If any other governor comes to Nyeri, he'll know that one day MCAs took action against a governor who was incumbent.
Now, you've already filed a motion in court, a petition in court, because there was some irregularity in the way the budget was amended within the assembly. What exactly was the problem there?
Let me start with our standing order. If you look at our standing order 26, that is 267A and B, that as the assembly we have the mandate to look at the estimate in terms of increasing or reducing the votes. Then that's what we call the appropriation. And what we see in the county assembly, or what happened by our majority leader, who is also the chair for budget, it's only to read the report. And I believe financial procedures, they must be followed. And in this essence is that once you get a vote and you want to reduce it and to increase it, you have to direct to a certain vote. So that was something we didn't happen in the assembly. Those are some of the provisions. So the same spread over now to the variation, to the contravention of the PFM Act and the PFM regulations, since the procedures were not followed. Then the issue now, in terms of the role of the committee now for budget, of which I was a member, the same was not, as a mandate of the county assembly, the same also was not achieved. But I believe all this was because of the gaps of the understanding of the budget.
Okay, now the County Assembly has been accused of increasing its allocation from the budget estimates that were presented, increasing its allocation to 612 million shillings, which they say the figure represents 9.7% of the revenue, which according to the petition is against the law, that you cannot increase it beyond 1%. Do you agree that this is what you think?
It's not true, Fred, and I'm happy because the center is here. You know, the county assemblies were capped, ceilings were put. I'm the chair budget committee, I'm the leader of majority in Nyeri County. So as I talk here, I've done 3 budgets. And the reason there is a stalemate in this budget is because the governor's budget was reduced. And he's not being sincere because he reduced his budget from 23 million shillings for travel to 8.5 million shillings. We are being prudent. We increased resources for health services from 41 million shillings to 85 million shillings to go dispensaries. We increased money for roads. We increased money for every critical services. And if we look at the budget for Nyeri, the issue of the budget of Nyeri is 2 offices, the office of the governor and the office of the county secretary, because they have deemed the issues that they are saying they are necessary services, quote unquote. Travel is no necessary service, furniture is no necessary service, refurbishment of buildings is no necessary service. So the county assembly's budget has not been increased. What we do, we get our ceilings, which were set by Senate and CRA. And those ceilings, we can't go beyond the ceilings. So the county assembly's budget is fixed. So the county assembly should not be put that they have increased their budget. What we have done in Nyeri, again, we have gone down. The previous budgets used to give money in lump sum. What we have done this time, which has angered the governor, is because we have gone down and say, if it's roads, we have allocated 1 billion. Which are these roads to be done? Because before we did not used to say which roads were being done. We used to say we have given you 1 billion shillings. Then the governor would sit in next cabinet, then decide later on which roads are done. Then I want to take you through back that the budget making process is a long process, which starts a whole year in September. You start by the ADP. The ADP was done. The ADP had programs. But now you cannot come to the budget making process and you want to change what was agreed on in the county fiscal strategy paper and in the ADP. That's what the governor wants to do. And we have agreed, totally disagreed, that let's do the programs that were approved by the assembly in the ADP. You cannot now come in the last minute and purport to change programs. That's even illegal. Yes.
In a short while, we'll be getting an input from the only senator in the House, Senator Hassan Omar from Mombasa County. But back to you, Bwana Ngiria. Yes. Do you agree with Bwana Gitwanja here that the governor really probably messed up in what they presented as the budget estimates?
Yeah, I want to say this, and this is where we have a gap. This not at this stage. There is nowhere the governor is coming in. The law of budget preparation lies with the treasury, and as you see the budget cycle, we have the annual development plan, the county fiscal strategy paper, all that anchored in the integrated development plan. So then there is nowhere the governor should be linked with the budget. The issue is what the treasury have done, are they taking the responsibility? That responsibility of preparing the budget estimate, it's what the assembly is actually having a difference. And the difference is they are not understanding this. And I want to put it clear here, Fred, is that budget estimate, it starts from so many things, from the historical cost, from the treasury. They have those records. They go to the members of the public. They hold forums and all that. They do validate in terms of the project. That's what makes to be the estimate. Now, when the budget has been submitted to the assembly, now the assembly do change the whole of it, irrespective of the recommendation from the CC, Finance and Economic Planning, irrespective of the public participation. And that's why you are seeing there is a gap, because if there is a difference, the consensus must be built, and it's anchored in law, it's anchored in the PFM Act. The consensus must be built by the treasury, by the head of the treasury, that is CC, Finance and Economic Planning and team, and then the budget committee. Now what is happening? The two sides are not agreeing to sit together. They are not agreeing to accommodate each other, and that's why you are seeing the assembly. What did is that if there was an allocation of 480 million, the whole amount is being shared into that award. And Fred, you know, even the kind of the money we are receiving from the national government, we are sharing in a way that is equitable. But what the Assembly did is that they shared that money equally to awards, irrespective of the ongoing project, irrespective of the county policies, irrespective of the flagship projects. And that's where you see the governor is coming in, saying, I cannot, this budget is illegal. It's not actually, yes, it's illegal because the county assembly is failing to look at the county policies. They are not aware of the historical cost. And then, Fred, how come, where did the assembly get the mandate to do the estimate? So if it's the assembly, they can just identify a project, but you cannot provide an estimate because we are not expert on that field.
Yes, let's now go to the Senator, Senator Hassan Omar, listening to these two gentlemen, Paul Ngiria on my right and Dan Kangitwanja on my left. What is your analysis, what is your assessment of the situation in Nyeri County?
I think there must be a way in which, particularly in budgetary processes, that you build common ground. But ultimately, the residual power to pass or reject the budget rests to the county assembly. In fact, the power even of the national parliament is so absolute when it comes to budgetary that if you do not look for a way in which you can bridge, you know, part of the balances, they can decide to fundamentally alter the budget of the national government relative to whatever the discretions that they might have. And it doesn't require you to be an expert to do that. Most assemblies these days have budget officers which can advise on elements of budgeting. So because I'm one of those people who believes in the power of assemblies, particularly to regulate and oversight governors, National Assembly to oversight and regulate national government, which is the executive. So therefore, I'm one of those who's almost bought into that philosophy that they must do their oversight and do it perfectly. And I think it is within their discretion to cut certain budgets and realign budgets and reallocate monies, even if the executive made a proposal. That proposal is subject to the county assembly. And if they did decide in their own discretion to do what they did, I think they just need to provide the rationale of why they did it, because there are also political consequences. If you decide today that you want to realign a priority set up by the national government, by the county government, and set up other priorities, we're also in a political process, and elections come in next year. So I think for me the accountability of those individual members rests with the people at that point in time when they go and they must justify why they did not do things that they did. And I think this is one of the few assemblies, if I heard you right, that they actually decided to give money to respective projects in their wards. And I think that's exactly why he's there. That's exactly why he's there, to ensure that their constituencies get money for some of their development priorities. So if for whatever rationale they decided to ensure that they spread the equity, I agree on the principle of equity rather than equality, because they're very varied levels of development. They should have looked at that principle of equity more than the principle of equality, so that they can be able then to ensure that those who have been far worse off now get a little bit more resources. Maybe that is where they might want to go and review in terms of ensuring that they definitely Nyeri is not developed uniformly. So therefore they need to look at those areas that are not uniformly developed, so that they can lift their standards. But on the totality, I hope that they do not degenerate into some kind of fierce battles. I think these disagreements should just be on a policy and strategic point of view, but not in terms of...
Well, I think we've already crossed that line. You can see the gentleman on my right already has a neck brace around his neck.
He said he was beaten outside the assembly.
Then what happens in a case like this one where the governor has refused to sign the budget?
After the lapse of, these days the president or the governor cannot refuse to sign a budget or a law. There's a period. Is it the constitutional period? Is it 30 days? 30 days. after the lapse of 30 days, that budget becomes law.
So the push to impeach the governor in this case is not necessary?
I will not speak to it because if they do...
As far as the budget is concerned, because the main accusation is that he has refused to pass the budget.
But in 30 days, it becomes law.
Yeah.
So no governor, no president can refuse to assent to a bill.
Yes.
Once after the lapse, because we took these very things that you could intimidate an assembly, you could intimidate the national parliament. So within a constitutional time frame, it becomes law automatically.
Yes.
Yeah. So unless he returns it with some of his memorandum, and the precedent set is that if you want to overturn the governor's memorandum or the president's memorandum, you have to have a 2/3 threshold. Yes. So that is another avenue the governor has. So he can decide to add a list of to re-amend it afresh and give his memorandum with all his wish list of what he intends the budget to look like. Yes. And then the assembly will require 2/3 to overturn the governor's memorandum, because that's the precedence the national president has set.
Okay, thank you, Senator. Now you hear that a impeachment motion on this matter is not really necessary. So are there other underlying issues apart from the budget that probably are making you push for the governor's impeachment?
I'll come to that, but first I want to say what Senator Omar has said is very true. It's unfortunate my friend is talking for the executive here, and you see, Senator Omar, separation of power has not really come to the devolved departments, because I hope next time he'll not be talking for the executive. Let him talk for the assembly part of it. I want to say, I want to say, you see, our governor has been saying that the assembly's work is to approve the budget, not change the budget. He has been on record on several stations saying that the work of an MCA is to approve a budget. So an MCA should not, in whatever way, look at the budget and try to amend it. His work is just look at the budget, then approve it. Then why even bring a budget to the assembly if the assembly has no role in the budget? I represent a ward called Kabaru Ward. Then I should look at the interests of the Kabaru Ward, and I should say there's a dam in Kabaru Ward which has no money. Then Kabaru people will be asking me, why didn't you put money there? That's my work. Again, I want to say about the impeachment of the governor. The issue of the budget is not an issue. The issue of impeaching the governor has been on the implementation of the 3 budgets that he has done. In the current implementation report tabled before my committee few weeks ago, there's a discrepancy between the money released by the exchequer, which is 1.1 billion, and the money really utilized in projects. We have been asking the governor, because your projects show 800 million, the exchequer released 1.1 billion. Where is the rest of the money, which cannot be seen in projects?
So you accuse him of embezzling county funds?
Yes, true.
So, and that is the main push for his impeachment?
That's the main push, not the budget.
Anything you can say to that?
Yes, first I want to go to Hassan issue, and it's important actually to note that is that since the executive are not comfortable with the budget, they did the objections in terms of the memorandum. The same was done, but now there is no one who wants to listen. Now they sit together as a member of the budget and also the treasury, and that's where we have an agreement there. So it is important that we note that both sides must sit together. Then, Fred, I want to say that it's important. I'm not working for the executive, and I want to make it clear, because we have different levels of the development and also the different needs. I come from Udaya, and you know Udaya is a bit developed. So there are issues that I need in Udaya
that are different from Kabaru.
Yes, because Kabaru is semi-arid or Lasso area. So we cannot share each and everything together. So you see the sense?
Yes.
So it is important that we have different needs, and that's why we have different
and divergent opinions in politics are welcome, and that's the basis of democracy.
Yes.
But probably because you have a senator also from Nyeri County and members of parliament, and in a short while I see a member of parliament for Kitutu Church, when Richard Onyonka wants to add something. Has there been any effort by probably the senator or members of parliament from Nyeri to try and mediate this back and forth between the county assembly and the governor?
Yeah, they have been. Honorable Kabando has tried to consult the members, the governor. Our governor, you know, our governor has a huge ego. He can't come down. Honorable Kanini Kega, yesterday we had a meeting with him. He has also tried. We have sent him the governor. We have sent the senator to the governor. Let the governor come from the high edge and come down. Because our issues that we want to deliberate cannot be deliberated up there. He must come down to the level of an MCA. But don't keep on asking, who is an MCA to sit down with the governor? It's the constitution which created an MCA. And an MCA represents people. So you have to talk with them and agree on issues.
Yes, so do you agree that that's what the governor has done?
Fred, I believe that's why the Senate is there. And what we are looking is that everyone is saying that you sit down with the governor. The governor will only come when we approve the budget and agree with the treasury, then sign the warrant. So that's where he'll come in. I'm actually praying that you have the consensus. But first, the team from the Nyeri County must agree first on the issue so that we can...
so the governor will only sit down after the budget issue is sorted out?
Yes, by the treasury and the county assembly and possibly there. And if need be, the governor should also be there, because it's also important, because at the end of the day, he will also be the one who will be accountable. But I want to make it clear here, Fred, is that as far as this is politics, we have a lot of issues, and we have been there for the last 3 years. We have been doing project in our ward, and we have the implementation committee in the assembly. So why are we questioning the rationale when we are coming at this juncture? We have the elections where we have all that, and we have several committees, the sectoral committee in the assembly have been taking their mandate in terms of their departmental issues, implementation, oversight, and I believe that's our role.
Okay. Yes. Member of Parliament for Kitutu Chache, Bwana Richard Onyonka, has a question to ask.
No, I actually just wanted to mention two things. One, this case that you have from Nyeri is exactly a reflection of the, I think to me, the challenges we face as a country because of the new constitution, for the simple reason that we yet have not reached a stage where we understand that the drafters of the constitution were very particular. The exercise is actually supposed to be consultative. That is why, if you remember, when it comes to the issue where the senators were supposed to be chairmen of the county development boards, governors were supposed to actually assent to that, because the senator is the one who's supposed to do the oversighting of what the county governments are doing and everything, and the governors refused. The reality is that if there isn't consultation and discussion as to how the public funds which have been transmitted to the county government, you are going to have the same issue that you have. Number two, my brother on the right mentioned that in fact when the money is supposed to come, that members of the county assembly have no role to play. That is completely not true. The responsibility of the budget making exercise, of the allocation of the funds, of the even implementation of how these funds are going to be utilized falls squarely on the county assembly and with the budget committee that they have, like in Parliament. As a member of the budget committee, we will interrogate what the presidency has brought to the House. We will look at some of the projects which they're asking certain amounts of money, and we will actually come in as a committee in Parliament, and once or twice we have said this is not necessary, this is necessary, let's do it this way. So anybody who assumes that the county assembly members or even members of Parliament are just going there to rubber stamp whatever budget the executive brings to the floor is completely wrong. Okay. Finally, I think we just need to begin to understand that the drafters of the constitution we got in 2010 had a very simple but very concrete view that the funds were going to be devolved to the county governments. These funds had to be utilized well, and the budgeting and the processes and the exercises of accountability and all this was meant to be handled much better than we have done. And I would really wish that the team from Nyeri, when they go back to Nyeri, they would be willing to sit back and rethink this scenario, because their actions, like what you've seen, I saw my brother the other day with a torn shirt. That is what gives devolution a bad name. We don't have to have a member of the county assembly being beaten up for a budget to be passed.
Yes. And of course, such scenes are not things we expect from the County Assembly, as a Member of Parliament from Kitutu Chache, Richard Onyonka, says there. But final words, now as you go back, what is the way forward? Are you still going to push for the impeachment of the governor?
You see, first, the impeachment of the governor is not nothing. And you didn't say which road you want to do. But I'm pleading that let the governor assent to the budget. This is the best.
What would you say?
Must sit, disagree, and agree, because the people of Nyeri require service delivery very fast. We need to fast track the project, the ongoings, the new one, so that at least we can be responsible, because we are also readers.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. That has been Paul Ngiria, a member of the County Assembly for Shinga in Nyeri County, and my left, Duncan Gitwanja, member of the County Assembly Kaburu ward in Nyeri County as well, helping us understand exactly what's happening in Nyeri County. Of course, this is a push and pull between Governor Nderitu Gachagua and the County Assembly. Now, in a short while, I'll be rejoining my team of news reviewers, and we'll be looking at what happened in Parliament yesterday. Now, the members of the National Assembly have ganged up to delete a clause in the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee's report on electoral reforms that sought to bar politicians from party hopping. The MPs, apprehensive of botched party nominations before next year's polls, overwhelmingly supported an amendment proposed by Kisumu Town West lawmaker Olago Alwoch. Now, this forced Majority Leader Aden Duale to challenge the that was used. While the Senate adopted the report without amendments, debate in the National Assembly was adjourned to allow members build recommendations.
Left, right and center is not proper, and it is not in tandem with the standing order. That I want to go on record, because we have turned the house into, a marketplace.
This is not Bible. It is not cast in stone. I wonder why people tell us it is unamendable. Then why are we in this house? Why are we debating this thing in the first place if we cannot amend it?
We are just passing the report to allow those bills that contain party hopping to be considered. Whether they will be accepted by the members or rejected, it will be dependent on this house. It is not the report. The report does not carry party hopping. It is the bills that are contained inside.
You cannot send somebody for milk and they bring you sugar on top, and you only give them money for milk and expect you to take sugar. Madam Speaker, this is why the problem is so.
The absence of us not passing this report, not adopting this report, will be street demonstrations, loss of life, and Kenyans will judge this house very harshly.
Let us consult whoever we need to consult each other. More importantly, consult each other whether or not our amendment of the amendment that we have made is in order.
This particular provision is intended, is targeting the political acrobats.
But I would have brought independent candidates slightly after the nomination of political parties to enable those who have been rigged out, if I may say so.
What would you be doing as an elected leader 21 days to the close of nominations in a party that you do not have faith in its nomination, Mr. Speaker?
We live in Kenya, Senator. So far we live in Kenya. People buy party positions. People, they are party leaders and party patrons. People who can buy a nomination and oust you, notwithstanding your competence.
Yes, you're still watching Power Breakfast right here on Citizen TV, and of course you've seen a very animated senator from Mombasa, Hassan Omar, there defending the right of elected members of Parliament and the Senate to change parties if at all they're not happy with the nomination process.
Because I also hopped into the Senate.
Exactly.
You know, I cannot not try to cross the road that I personally passed. That's the Kenyan philosophy.
But ironically, the Senate passed the bill as it was without any amendments.
Initially, we had contemplated an amendment with a couple of colleagues to that particular clause. Then that argument which I saw in the National Assembly by not Duale but Chepkonga, they just passed the report, and then the amendments will come into the substance of the law, was what persuaded us that when it comes to the arguments around the law, we will then be able to change it. And look at it, and you know, for me, principally, almost all parties are different sides of the same coin. When I was asking my brother Murkoban, which ideologies are you talking about? You know, I know my ideologies of the party. I know what I stand for. I hear people saying they are social democrats. You look at the implementation of policies, there is nothing close to social democracy. It's just on paper. So you see, so for now, the parties are still just vehicles for political competition. And people flood into parties on the basis that a certain party X is dominant in a certain region, Y, a certain party Y is dominant in a certain region, Z. So I think on the totality, I'm not embarrassed to say that I hoped. Yeah, and if I had not hoped, I made a joke there. I would have been a pressure group ODM Mombasa County. But now I'm a senator, and quite a number of my colleagues believe that this senator who hoped is useful in terms of the Senate. So I think unless we change the architecture of our parties, the modus operandi of our nominations, guarantee the highest preserve of free and fair nominations, guarantee many other things, and build ideologies around these parties. It is. Look at the people who've been saying they don't hope. They are the owners of the parties, because they want to contain everybody. The oligarchs, you know. So I can tell you, the heat in the National Assembly was not misplaced.
But Arati, you defied your party leader, and it's not to be expected.
It's not the first time he's defied the party leader. This guy ran against Raila.
And he made
was it to be expected because the Senate passed it without amendments? They were convinced by that argument by the jailer chairman Chepkonga. Now, after you're saying that argument was convincing.
If they pass it with amendments, then there will need to be some form of mediation. Then we'll amend ours.
Yes.
At the Senate.
Yes. Bonarati, do you think this proposal will water down the whole purpose of this IEBC reform stock?
I want just to recall what my brother, the party hopper, because
me too. I came to Parliament with PDP, which was a briefcase party. 2008.
Okay. So it's actually out of necessity.
The fear which is founded is not that it is unfounded. Is the way we have been carrying out our nominations. And better off, you know, we are talking of parties which are regional. Not actually issues of ideologies, but then we must, any journey, we have to have a starting point. Indeed, for us to bring some sanity. Today we are seeing people who are elected on either ODM, they are now you know, perpetuating to support the ideologies of Jubilee. All the same case, even within the Jubilee itself. Therefore, it's a good start for purpose of us developing. Because when are we going to start? The big problem is that we must have a proper law on nomination, and that will be able to sort out these businesses. Because indeed, what happens is that we know, not because there's been notion that in ODM certificates have been sold, but we have seen it even in Jubilee. Therefore, it's a common problem. What we are saying is that, yes, we'd want to pass that report the way it is. Then if there is amendment, they follow. So that we don't take the country back into what we have witnessed. We lost life. And we lost lives. And those lives, some would have been even in the next elections, be in Parliament. That's what you're looking at.
Yes. Bonanyonka.
Yes. I would like to agree with my brother Simba, but again disagree with him. We didn't lose life because we wanted to have party hoppers being stopped making party hop. We lost life because the elections that we need to have in the country must be free, fair, accountable. It should be an election that is believable. Stopping me as a member of parliament not to go to another party does not make the elections free and fair. Our argument is very simple, and I can tell you in parliament yesterday, I have never seen the amount of unanimity and the passion agreed, because half of us, half of the members of parliament have either been rigged, have either been messed up, have either been we've been forced. I mean, I was using an example in 2007. I could have killed somebody if I was not the ODM candidate. When ODM came to Kisii, many people didn't even understand what ODM was. We believed in it. We fought like hell to make sure, and it was very difficult at that time. Lo and behold, what happens? I wake up in the morning and I find my opponent has an ad on one of the TV stations saying he won the elections. He was thanking me for having allowed him win the election. After that, then you start scrambling. Then you start screaming, what do I do? Where am I going to get money? How do I get a party? You come to Nairobi. You're trying to buy a party that is going to help you win an election. I mean, it couldn't have been a more emotional issue at a personal level. What members of parliament are saying, we will pass the motion, the bills will come, party hopping will stay. There is nothing our party leaders are going to tell us for us to listen to. Everything else, including removing the commissioners, bringing in the two-thirds gender rule, all those things we agree. But we must be allowed to have just a small window of, in case you are rigged out, in case somebody pays more money than you, to be given a certificate if you are in a political party that is popular, so that we do not curtail the development and growth, one, of democracy, and allowing members to have a free hand to determine their...
One of the senators who really made me laugh, he said, if IBC had the magic to print a ballot paper overnight, you could even hope the last day. The thing is, also just get the wisdom which the members of parliament are telling their party leaders across the board, that your parties, as much as we are members, we don't trust your nomination process. We don't trust the grounding of your democratic processes. Your parties are not structured enough to give faith.
Yet you're a party official.
But what we are saying, but you see, for me, in Wiper, our guarantees, in fact, for us, the hoping thing is not that we are going to hop out of the party. A lot of people hope in. So for us, it is the other way around. You know, it's not that people are going to hop out of the party. So why will you stop people who want to come into our party? So that's the whole idea.
Then it should benefit your party.
Yes, that's why I'm saying we should allow it.
But then it defeats even the purpose of the coalition. That shows you that he is not prepared for that. But in the same Wiper, we know very well the number of people who jumped the ship and indeed got into independence, and they are members of parliament. Therefore, this business of fair hoping, which I agree is a good, another thing, you may be very popular, come that day, then you get yourself, and
the Baba will not give you the...
No.
I saw Senator
Baba is very clear at the moment that the elections will be...
When I write a very valid question by Senator Murkomen, what would you be doing 21 days to the day of the nomination in a party that you totally distrust the nomination process?
Let me tell you, politics is defined by interests. You look at what party do I need to be in if I am to win this election. You see, most of those people who spoke and including myself, unfortunately or fortunately, there is a reassurance that you might get your nomination based on the positions that you have. And I want to but also appreciate the concerns of the majority, that unless this party's first and foremost structure and have transparency and accountability and fair play in terms of their nominations, there is a likelihood that we will not build strong institutions called parties. So I think what happens is you could be there in good faith. Yeah, I was there where the party was in. Was there in good faith. So but you see and I realized that all opinion polls showed that I was winning. But for some reason, my brother Joho had an opinion poll that showed Kajembe winning, and that's what persuaded the ODM party. So I said, okay, then let these opinion polls contest in an election. And by then my victory was almost close to what the opinion poll indicated, that I was going to win. In fact, the margin was slightly higher than the opinion poll that I had. So I think what Murkomen has to appreciate is that this party is not the belief structure. He's in Jubilee. Also, for that matter, URP, because he knows without URP, Gio Marakwet will not win. And a lot of people know that without certain parties in their regions, they will not win. So therefore, you first commit yourself to that party and become literally a sycophant to it. And then you realize that your thinking is not in tandem with the leaders or the owners of that party.
What about members of parliament from some of the constituencies around the city, like Dagoretti North? Do you have to be in ODM for you to win in Dagoretti North?
Yes.
Unlike Kibra,
don't say it's true.
He would agree.
You don't need to be in ODM, but the truth of the matter is that ODM is the party is loved by the people, especially in Dagoretti and especially in Nairobi. If I take you back when we did our nomination, then later on, because I was contesting against the likes of Gumo. Gumo and there were strong people. He
was denied the ticket.
Just a minute.
I'm the one who was peddling him in the streets looking for the ODM ticket.
No, I got my ticket. Ticket. And we have learned, of course, we have learned from the past mistakes that indeed fair and free nominations is a key, to success in terms of even getting the presidency. In Nairobi, you need to be in the right party. That is the truth of the matter.
And the party is?
And the party is ODM. And I can tell you would have gotten around 14 seats if it's not this business of a coalition. Either Wiper was in my constituents. I had Wiper, I had 40 Kenya, and I had everything, but I managed to be the winner.
So if you were to run as an independent, do you think you would get your seat?
Most probably, yes. Depends on what my...
Because you have faith in your ability.
Yes, it depends on what my record has been.
Then why fear? Why don't you run for... as an independent?
I do not have I don't have a disagreement with that. By the way, if ODM doesn't give me my ticket, I'll run either as an independent or as another party, because I have had...
You are ready to hope?
Oh, I'm ready. Anytime. Anytime. Because what happens is, you see, like Omar said yesterday, on the floor of the House, we're in Kenya. And Kenya is Kenya. Kenya hasn't reached a stage where people look at you in terms of your capacity, your capability, ability to deliver services. How do we articulate or even discuss issues? At some point, people are going to be now discussing money issues. I mean, you remember the law which has been brought about, campaign expenditure limits and everything. Kenyans, according to many of us, the leadership of all our political parties has not reached a stage where they can actually allow the public to pick the person that they may so wish. And therefore, we are not ready to put ourselves a leash on the neck, drive ourselves to a kichinjio, and then you are slaughtered there in the principle of anything. We have no political parties that have ideology. We have no political parties that believe in anything. I'll give you an example.
Because a few weeks ago, you seem to have crossed over to Jubilee. But now you're talking like you're back in...
No, I can tell you this. If we discussed... Let me give you an example so that you understand my thinking. Yesterday, John Bandi on the Star newspaper said the Prime Minister has got 5 options. He can run for elections on ODM, run on CORD, he can pick another outfit, he can stay out of it, or engage President Kenyatta to negotiate something.
Yes.
That's all I'm doing myself.
Yes.
I do not imagine the former Prime Minister willing to negotiate with Jubilee.
Yes.
So who am I not to negotiate with Jubilee? The position we are taking is very simple. African politics is based on a negotiated settlement on many issues, including community interest, public interest, or even self-interest.
Okay.
And if the public that I represent tells me stay in ODM, I will do that. If they tell me cross over to Jubilee, I will. But if I find that both these parties are not going to give me a platform whereby I can represent my people effectively, I will run as an independent, or even pick another political party and move.
If you want to know how the belief of a party, it's not necessarily what is in the charter. It is the faith base which it has created. If you today go to a Muslim dominion mosque, you will expect that you see Muslim worshippers. Almost all of them have similar values, have similar mode of belief, mode of prayer. When you go to the Catholics, you'll see the same thing. When you go to, in fact, you find the Uhuru family, Kenyatta family, evidently Catholic. You go to another one with Protestants, you see the same thing. So you'll see that the followership there reflects the base document of faith. You come to any party and say, line up behind your parties. All parties will have violators, grabbers, looters, drug dealers, all of them. Drug deal, everybody, they line up behind all those parties. So you find all the parties in their followership have the same faith. Looters of the Yester regimes, violators of the Yester regimes, but now they come with a pass and buy progressive space. Yes. And that's why you say, why is there no reforms? Every time you open up a space, you allow the what is called the reactionary actors, the looters of capital, the wielders of all these people to come in and buy progressive space. That's why it's becoming more and more difficult for people with brilliant ideas without money to win. That's why parties now, when the unit of political organization is no longer ideology, it is finance, it's tribe. So unless we grow out of it, there are people in this country who have, if we were really about character, if we were really about vision, if we were really about ideology, they will have no business in the country's politics. But they have the audacity to tell us that they will rule us one day, because they think we are simple, cheap and stupid on the basis of money and other forms of political engineering that is anything outside ideas.
Absolutely. Final word,
the only assurance that we want to give to the Kenyans is that as in CORD, and particularly in ODM, we've learned from our past mistakes. We'll have fair and free nomination. That's what we are working on, so that we can be able to get the best, because we want to take over the government. I love it that there are those ones who believe that one day they must rule us. Even even the concept that they were supposed to be in the limelight of running this country, and that's why we are in the big mess. Because of such kind of the people who are in the leadership. Therefore, the only play that we want to ask the Kenyans, not issues of tribe, that ama Kikuyu, ama Jaluo, ama Kisi or Luya. What we want to work on is how best we can be able to change our country, get the food on the table, and then we be patriotic to our country. Yes. Those leaders, most of them who are in power today, they're not patriotic. What they are doing is stealing, literally what the MCA was talking about, embezzling. And we are looking at it. If you talk about it, the second day is on hate speech. You are in the cells. Therefore, what we're talking about is that we have only thieves unless we change. And the only way to go about it is to have credible nominations from the word go for us to be able to make a better country.
Gentlemen, you look like you want to say something.
Yes. Yes. I just wanted to say that once again, thanks for inviting us here. I just wanted to mention that if you noticed again in our papers today, Isaiah Kipla that died yesterday.
Yes, yes.
He's one of the Kenyan heroes who really pushed Kenyan athletes to succeed and to deliver for our country. I hope he'll be given a warm send-off, and I wish to send my condolences to the family and for all those who have worked with him over the years.
Okay.
Otherwise, thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
And also, maybe just because he's started it, to wish him, may he rest in peace. But as I said, we need to develop our politics. We need to mature our politics. We need to mature the extent of our ideology in terms of leaning, in terms of parties. Let us be defined by not a galaxy of tribes coming together, but a galaxy of ideas having a common purpose. So therefore, I think that is the Kenya we want, and that expression of mood in the country, in the parliament, and across the country. In fact, people are very anxious about this party hopping thing. Demonstrates that we still are yet to trust our political institutions.
Okay. Hassan Omar, Senator, Mombasa County, asante sana. Simba Arati, Member of Parliament for the Greater North, and Richard Onyonka, MP, Kitutu Chache, thank you so much for helping us look at the headlines this morning. Remember, you're still watching Power Breakfast right here on Citizen TV. The hashtag to use is Power Breakfast. Remember, at Simba Arati, that's the Twitter handle for Simba Arati, MP Dagoretti, and Hassan Omar, Twitter handle Hassan Omar H. Still on Gmail.
Still
we'll get you can use the hashtag Power Breakfast at Citizen TV Kenya, at Fred Indimuli. The conversation continues. The show is not over yet. We'll be back.